Hello again, Strokepup. Today I'm bringing you a video about Torchlight Frontiers and its recently released update 9, Seeds of Fortune. And here is a quick quote from the post on the official website. Update 9 Seed of Fortune is ready to boom. This update adds key systems and brings more polish to the Hivid frontier. With Enchanting and the Work tree we've added more crafting to forts, contracts, fame quests and an improved quest UI enhance the account level, goals and rewards, including more pets. Another batch of quest skills adds strategic depth and variety. On top of it all, we have a huge set of bug fixes, new content, tuning changes and polish. As always, let us know what you think. Many of these changes came from the feedback and discussions we have with our fans. So this is a quote from Tyler Thompson, who is the project lead. It's on the website and it was on your screens. The next thing we should be talking about is features. And the first feature we would be discussing is Enchanting. Here is what was written with the patch notes. As mentioned in our previous blog post, this feature allows for a new layer of customization for characters. Convert any old or unwanted wood you found into magical essence. This essence is used to apply bonuses to your weapons and other equipment at the enchanter's altar within your fort. Recipes for enchantment can be found as drops while adventuring throughout the frontier. Now what you're seeing on your screen is a weapon, low level weapon I found with a couple of sockets. So I enchanted it into one socket, but I needed essence to enchant the other socket, and I needed just one more blue essence. So this is a great way of getting rid of some old gear that you've been stashing in wardrobes or stashes or whatever, maybe on outs. So pull out that unnecessary low B or mid B or high level blue gear and legendary gear and grind it down into essences. Now thanks to grinding down this item I can apply another bonus. Let's see what we get here. Remember, it's RNG, so if you get bad bonuses you have to click on disenchant, which would remove all bonuses. So if you have an item with 2 or 3 bonuses already applied as enchantment on it, as soon as you click disenchant, all of those would be lost and you would have another chance to try and get multiple good bonuses. Those of us who enjoy min-maxing their gear just to try and push for faster, easier and better runs would enjoy this enchanting feature and have been waiting for it for quite some time. It is still not complete, so later on what will be added is the ability to level up those recipes as you use them and to have a limited number of maxed out recipes to the maximum possible level. And here comes another feature that was promised, and it is the ability to visit other people's forts and use their enchanting altars, enchanting stations, and use their recipes, the ones that they have leveled up as opposed to yours. So this would be nice to find buddies who would be leveling different recipes than you and to just use each other's stations. Another good move on Ectra's part, pushing players towards cooperation and doing things together. The other thing I want to talk about is the contracts and fame improvements. The contracts are chock full of unique and otherwise useful rewards. This new system is now a core part of the experience of Torchlight Frontiers. Complete fame quests and reach new contract levels to unlock things like the new Chakawari, eagle and cat pets, interesting fort props, and sacks of gold or other wood. Get a sneak peek of the Goblin Expedition contract in some of the latest blog posts from the developers is what they're suggesting to do. I can provide you in the description links to those blog posts if you want more additional information. The system is not completed and there are things missing from that system, but it is pretty complete to me. I mean, everything I might want from it is there. Of course, there would be multiple contracts, so you would be able to navigate between contracts for one expedition and contracts for another expedition. At the moment you're seeing that a Hivid one is coming soon, but we do have this Goblin expedition which still does give some missions that need to be completed in the Hivid frontier. Maybe later on different expedition missions would be completed in the different frontiers. For now, time will tell. What I like is that they've added so much wood, so much goodies like legendary essence bundles, legendary map bundles, blue map bundles, cores for crafting relic weapons, new pets and new variations of those pets as well. And we have some extra wardrobe space, which is 2 green wardrobes per character, I mean per class, and a blue great wardrobe, one for each class. So that's 3 new wardrobes for each class that we've got. Then there's those tons of rewards at level 30 and at level 60. And as we've said, and it's written in some places, once you hit level 60, once you max out those fame levels and get all the rewards, you can start over from the start, and some of those would be repeatable. So new and improved fame and contract system, much better than the one we saw in update 4 or 5 when they demonstrated an early version of this. They've taken the feedback we've given them, they've improved the system, and it now is packed to the brim with rewards. It's longer, it's not just 25 levels, but it's 60 levels, and you can do it endlessly. Like if you finish it, you can still start over and complete some quests. Now, how the system works is you see those notice boards, and you go to one of those notice boards in each public zone. Public zones are the zones you travel from your map to, from the waypoint, and in those public zones is where you find dungeons. So most of those quests you can pick up would either ask you to kill a certain type of enemies, which can be done either in the dungeons or the public zone, or they would ask you to go into a certain dungeon and find a certain item that either drops from a wootable object like a rock or a barrel or a pile of bones or a pile of skulls, or it would require you to get a drop from a certain enemy. Or maybe you just need to kill certain enemies that only spawn in a certain dungeon or a certain boss, and so on. Some of those are glitched at the moment and cannot be completed because certain enemies don't spawn. It is alpha. Remember the hashtag just alpha things. This is the mindset you need to have when playing an alpha game. There would be a lot of broken stuff and a lot of stuff will change, which obviously it is. So yeah, as I was saying about the contracts, some of them might be broken, and probably the most effective way to do them would be to just go from the lowest level zone of the frontier until the highest level zone, taking all the contracts, missions, and completing all the easy ones. Then eventually, as you complete stuff, as you kill stuff, there would be a lot of stacking ones. So maybe even doing map works, you can do the kill quests. Someone would probably come out with a way that's most effective to do the contracts. For me, my suggestion would be at the moment, go to each public zone and take the missions and don't complete anything but the easiest ones, the ones that you can navigate to the target quickest. Or maybe even don't complete them at all until you've taken all of those missions in this frontier. Then move on to the next one, take the missions there, and so on, as much as the limit of quests taken allows you. Once you have all the quests from the missions in all zones, you can start killing stuff one by one, picking either the highest or the lowest level zone, and either go down or up the levels. If you're level 50, it wouldn't matter. If you're lower level, of course it would be better to start from the lower levels, so you can maybe get some XP from them and so on. And as you go and kill stuff to collect certain items, you would be killing enemies that would be required as a kill etc number of goblins, or kill etc number of Netherrim, or kill etc number of goblin fire dancer, if I remember correctly was an example. So while you're completing the other stuff, those things, the other kill quests etc would also count for it, and it would be nice. Another tip would be when you reach a reward that gives you legendary map works bundle, try to find people to do those legendary maps with together. First of all, it would be easier for you to spread the damage that you're taking and to combine the damage that you're dealing. It would also be possible to do the map quicker if you're doing it with another person helping you DPS. Then there's the instanced wood. So inviting people to your map would not make you lose wood. In fact, it's the opposite. You would benefit from 15% increased gear work by having a player near your player account, near your character. So if you have two characters nearby, each of them would get this buff. This does not add up, so you can get maximum of 15 regardless whether you have 1, 2 or 3 people nearby. But both of you would be benefiting from the gearwork, each of you would be getting their own drops, instanced wood, so that's actually more drops for everyone. So do those legendary maps with other people, share the wealth. Another thing that came with the update is new quest skills. Up to this point, each of the three currently available classes had some mysterious question marks on their skill paths. Update 9 finally pulls back the curtain on a few of these, though there are still more to be released. We're eager for our alpha testers to put these new skills to good use, then providing their first round of feedback and sharing their totally OP builds, of course. So this is a quick overview of the two skills. First off, White Spears, you can see a fire spear made of light that deals etc. weapon damage and has etc. chance on hit to heal you for 5% of your maximum HP per enemy hit. And then there's Damnation. Dark skill corrupts an area and makes all enemies inside do decreased damage output for 20% while they stay in the damned area and for 4 seconds after they leave. Slaying an enemy grants you 10% of your total mana back, if that enemy was afflicted by damnation when it died. The two skills go very well together. One of them is a very high damage nuke that you can kinda spam based on how much mana regen you have, and the other one helps you regenerate mana by killing afflicted enemies. So you can just afflict the enemies and then spam some spears on them to make sure you gain some of the mana back, so you can cast another spear afterwards if there's like a champion that is staying alive after the first or second hits. Needless to say, mana regen and if possible mana cost reduction modifiers for this skill would be amazing for such a build. I'm currently farming more gear that has mods for those skills, but the build I've been using so far while streaming this seems to be very nice. Next up, we've got two new skills for the Forged, Fracking Strike and Sonic Pulse. Fracking Strike is what you're seeing at the moment. Your fists send rippling waves of air that damages and swallows your targets. Whereas Sonic Pulse is basically a debuff that unleashes a pulse which exposes the enemy's weaknesses, thereby temporarily increasing damage against them. So you would see something like 40% extra damage against the enemies when Sonic Pulse is maxed, and together with Fracking Strike it adds up for a nice new addition to this class. Especially if you want to use a build that relies on Vortex Bomb spamming. Now the other class, the Realm Master, also got two new skills. Those are Lantern Flash, which unleashes the brilliant light of your lantern to both burn and blind your foes. And then we have Spike Drive, sunder the earth with your weapon, sending out cracks that damage and slow your enemies. I'm now gonna quickly demonstrate each of them and show them in slow motion so you can kind of see up close what's happening easily. So there's us blinding them, and mind you, it can also apply things such as meteors from the Relic, and there's us using Spike Drive. So now a bit of gameplay of me using this together with a fully brow tree, so we have all the brow skills. This combines well with dynamites, with blasting charge to debuff the enemies, and up close you can use spike drive, and then when you need to snipe an enemy or to focus someone that's better off focused with a ghost rain, you can use it. But in the meantime, for trash mobs, for clearing multiple enemies, spike drive seems to be nice because it does not rely on the enemies being lined up the same way per se Ghost Train does in order to do more damage to multiple targets. When it comes to the relics, not much has changed except that now you craft them with 24 cores. The cores would drop between 1 and 3 instead of just 1 at once, and you also get those from the contracts. The skills remain the same, so no big changes except for this crafting change. The tree of work or work tree is where you would be dumping non-necessary legendary green, blue gear, etc. So you can just pump it up with items. It will give you XP, and as you give it XP you would gain some experience in this purple pinkish bar at the top. Each level gained, one of those symbols at the top would light up, and once you filled up 5 levels you would get the maximum out of it, which is 5% permanent gear luck. And then we get a rework for the Hivid frontier, similar to how the Goblin frontier was reworked. They've dramatically revised the quest structure, rewards and monster pacing for that frontier. And even if we manage to squash and stomp our way through the ways of these insectoids, we've still got to face 2 newly updated boss fights. That's Psora and Spinderella. So Spinderella and Psora, 2 new boss fights. The shrines also got reworked, and now the speed shrine increases the movement speed by 30% down from 50 and increases the attack speed by 60%. The healing shrine now restores 33% of your max health per second up from 20, and the now renamed skill shrine, which is Shrine of Energy, it reduces all cooldowns by 50% while active instead of increasing resource regeneration. Then Might Shrine now increases your crit chance instead of adding double the damage, so 100% increased crit chance for the duration. Then Fire Defense gives you 100,000 fire defense, and Plague Shrine gives you Poison Defense. They're now named Smoldering Shrine and Plague Shrine from Fire Defense and Poison Defense shrines. There have also been new monsters added to certain maps, so you should be able to see some of those as you explore the zones. The quest UI has also been updated, and you can now put quests outside of the tracking from the quest log on the site. Then we have tuning changes. The Forge has increased heat generation for shotgun blasts from 10 to 13, and rapid fire now stacks a 10% damage multiplier up to 100% damage that lasts 5 seconds. The tuning on the Dusk Mage part is just changes to Holy Fury. It can now hit more than 3 targets, which should be pretty nice for builds that use the skill. And when it comes to Realm Master tuning, we do have added a once per second heal to the Realm Master Shield Car active skill, and then added a decal for the Realm Master Incendiary Mortar skill. Some changes have been applied to the relics, you can read on this list here. Then we have some rebalancing for the monsters and changes. Then we have wood changes. And on top of that we also have balance and pacing changes, a lot of changes for the quest, shit tons of general changes, and a lot of fixes. 3 pages of screenshots worth of fixes for you to show here. You can pause at any time, read if you want to know in detail, or you can visit the link in the description for the source material from where those text blocks have been taken. So the team has been busy, as you can see, fixing, adding, reworking, working, and just making the game better overall. which I'm very glad about. It's making me return now and play around with the new features, have some fun on all different characters. I'm hoping that you would be as well. And if you are wondering how to enter into the game's alpha, just go to torchlightfrontiers.com and sign up. Eventually at random times a script would select random people that have signed up regardless of how long ago, so everyone has the same chance regardless of how long they had signed up to the alpha. Thanks for watching folks, I hope you found the information helpful. If you've enjoyed the video you can let me know by smashing the like button or the dislike if you didn't. And if you want to be notified for more Torchlight Frontiers or other Wooter content that I upload, you can hit the subscribe button as well. Thank you again for watching, keep it cool and until next time.